Did you know that Neptune was discovered using math? Neptune is the only planet whose existence was predicted through mathematical calculations before it was seen through a telescope. In the 19th century, astronomers noticed that Uranus's orbit didn't match expectations, and they hypothesized that this was caused by the gravitational pull of an unknown planet. After calculations and extensive observation, Neptune was discovered, marking a triumph of science. This fact shows how powerful math is. It helped discover an entire planet long before it could be seen. What if I told you that there's a desert in Chile where it snows? The Atacama Desert is one of the driest places on Earth, but sometimes it snows. This rare natural phenomenon happens due to sudden climate changes and brings precipitation to regions that have not seen rain for years. Snow falling on the red sands of the desert creates an incredible contrast, making this place even more mysterious and astonishing. Tourists from around the world come to witness this unique natural wonder. Did you know that the colored squares on toothpaste tubes aren't magic? You've probably noticed the small colored squares at the end of toothpaste tubes. Some people believe that these colored markings indicate the product's composition, whether it's natural or chemical. But the truth is, that's just a myth. These marks, which can be black, blue, red, or green, are known as eye marks and serve purely technical purposes. They help machines on the production line correctly orient the tube for packaging and labeling. These marks contain no information about the toothpaste's ingredients or quality. So next time you see such a mark, you'll know it's just a technical detail, not a sign of some mysterious chemical composition. Did you know Yellowstone is the world's first national park? Yellowstone National Park, established in 1872, was the first national park in the world. Located mostly in Wyoming, USA, it is a true natural wonder. The park is famous for its geysers, hot springs, and wildlife, and it sits atop a massive volcanic caldera. This makes it not only a beautiful, but geologically unique place on the planet. Yellowstone is Mother Nature's masterpiece, attracting millions of visitors each year. What if I told you that space smells like burnt meat? It's strange, but astronauts who have returned from space report that the space environment has a distinct smell resembling burnt meat or metal after welding. This is due to complex chemical reactions occurring at the molecular level in the vacuum. While space itself doesn't carry smells, the scent becomes noticeable when astronauts return to their spacecraft. Have you ever thought about how whales sing underwater? Whales produce sounds that can be heard hundreds of kilometers away underwater. These sounds help them communicate and find mates, even across vast distances. Whale songs can last for hours, and each one is unique, like a fingerprint. These songs change over the years, making them not just a means of communication, but also a form of cultural heritage passed down through generations. How about this? In Sweden, there's a competition for the worst-smelling socks. This may sound absurd, but Sweden holds an annual competition called the Stinky Sock Contest, where participants compete for the title of owning the smelliest socks. The competition attracts many brave souls willing to wear their socks for months without washing in hopes of winning. The socks are judged based on intensity and aroma, and the winner gets not only the title, but also unique prizes, such as a year's supply of new socks. It sounds weird, but this contest really exists. Believe it or not, birds can talk. Many species of parrots can mimic human speech, but not because they understand words. They memorize the sounds and rhythms they hear and repeat them with surprising accuracy. Moreover, some parrots can remember and reproduce dozens of phrases and even sing tunes. This ability has made them popular as pets, as they can mimic entire sentences from their owners, adding funny and sometimes unexpected elements to conversations. Is it possible that giraffes only sleep 30 minutes a day? These incredible animals can survive on minimal sleep. Giraffes sleep for only about 30 minutes a day, and they even do it standing up. They have a special mechanism that allows them to rest in short intervals of a few minutes to avoid predators. With such long legs, they can quickly spot approaching danger. Is it true that ancient Egyptians used crocodile dung as a contraceptive? Yes, it's true. Around 2,000 years before Christ, Women in ancient Egypt used crocodile dung as a method to prevent pregnancy. They believed this method would block sperm from entering. While this might sound strange and even risky from a modern medical perspective, people back then sought any means of birth control. This historical fact shows just how far humanity has come in the development of medicine. Thanks to modern research, we now have much safer and more reliable methods of contraception. Ready to walk the entire Great Wall of China? If you're planning to walk the entire length of the Great Wall of China, prepare for a monumental journey. The Great Wall stretches for over 5,000 miles, or about 8,000 kilometers, across China. Walking the entire distance could take around 18 months, walking every day. The Great Wall is not just an ancient feat of engineering, but one of the world's greatest wonders, offering breathtaking views and glimpses into China's vast history at every step. Imagine for a moment that almost every family in the US owns a car, with most families having more than one. This car culture has become an integral part of American life, and almost everyone, from large cities to small rural communities, relies on automobiles. Only a tiny fraction of families are without cars, highlighting how vital vehicles are to Americans. In the US, a car is not just a means of transportation, but also a symbol of freedom, mobility, and independence. Italy, the country of UNESCO treasures. Italy holds the top spot in the world for the number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, an impressive 58 locations. These include famous landmarks like the Roman Colosseum and the stunning Amalfi Coast. But there are also hidden gems like the Dolomite Mountains that will take your breath away. Italy is a paradise for history lovers, art enthusiasts, and those seeking spectacular landscapes. Every corner of this country is steeped in culture and heritage, making it a must-visit destination for travelers and culture buffs alike. Can you imagine a snowflake the size of a plate? In 1887, the largest snowflake ever recorded fell in Montana. It was 15 inches wide and 8 inches thick. That's the size of a dinner plate. Imagine being under such a snowstorm. This amazing event went down in meteorological history as the most unusual snow phenomenon. So next time you complain about the snow, think, it could have been much bigger and more impressive. The chewing gum pack that changed retail forever. Imagine that the first product ever sold with a barcode was a pack of Wrigley's chewing gum. This historic event took place on June 26, 1974, in a supermarket in Ohio. This moment marked the beginning of a new era in retail, where barcodes became standard for simplifying shopping and inventory tracking. Barcodes quickly became a global standard and are still used in every store today. So the next time you buy something with a barcode, remember that it all started with a simple pack of chewing gum. Why do wolves run on their toes? Wolves have a unique way of moving. They run on their toes. This special technique helps them make quick stops, sharp turns, and protect the pads of their feet from wear and tear. Running on their toes keeps wolves agile and ready to react to anything in their environment, like having built-in brakes and durable shoes all in one. This skill makes wolves some of the most efficient hunters in the wild, allowing them to navigate dense forests and open terrain with ease. It turns out Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt. When we think of pyramids, Egypt is the first place that comes to mind. But here's a surprising fact. Sudan actually has more pyramids than Egypt. Egypt has about 138 pyramids, while Sudan boasts a whopping 255. These ancient structures, though less famous, represent a treasure trove of history yet to be discovered. If you love pyramids and ancient history, Sudan could be your next big adventure. Sharks can smell a drop of blood from miles away. Sharks have one of the most impressive senses of smell in the animal kingdom. They can detect blood in a ratio of 1 part per million of water, allowing them to track their prey from great distances. This ability makes sharks some of the most dangerous predators in the ocean. Their olfactory system is so developed that they can detect even the slightest changes in the chemical composition of water. Sharks not only track prey, but can also avoid potential threats, making them true masters of survival. This incredible sense of smell enables them to hunt effectively, even in the deepest, darkest waters. So if you find yourself in the ocean with a cut, beware. a shark could sense it from miles away. Can you imagine that the world's oldest color is pink? In 2018, scientists discovered the oldest known color on Earth, and it's pink. Extracted from billion-year-old rocks in the Sahara Desert, this pink pigment was created by ancient ocean-dwelling bacteria. These bacteria lived long before animals existed, making pink the oldest biological color. The discovery adds a colorful twist to our understanding of life's early history. Can you believe it? Cows have best friends. Cows, beyond being valuable farm animals, are incredibly social creatures with rich emotional lives. They can form strong friendships with other cows, and if separated from their best friends, they can become stressed. Cows often spend time together, graze in pairs, and express their emotions through unique vocalizations. Their social bonds highlight that cows are not just animals providing milk, but they have their own emotional worlds that deserve recognition. Why is there a village in Norway where it's Christmas every day? In the Norwegian village of Drøbak, a festive Christmas spirit lasts all year long. There's a Santa Claus museum, a postal service for sending holiday letters, and shops full of Christmas decorations. Even in summer, you can feel like it's winter, and the locals happily maintain this festive atmosphere. Tourists come here to experience a holiday wonderland, leaving with smiles and holiday cheer. How many toes do you think cats have on their front paws? Cats' paws are truly unique, not just because they're cute. Most cats have 5 toes on their front paws and only 4 on their back paws. This makes their movement system particularly efficient for hunting and climbing. However, some polydactyl cats have extra toes, making them even more unique. It seems nature decided that a cat's paw shouldn't just be a survival tool, but also a perfect machine for capturing human hearts. The shortest war lasted only 38 minutes. In 1896, a war broke out between Britain and the Sultanate of Zanzibar, which became the shortest in history. The conflict began when the Sultan of Zanzibar refused to comply with British demands. Britain sent warships into the harbor, and within 38 minutes of intense bombardment, the Sultan surrendered. During that time, the British ships destroyed the Sultan's palace and his fleet before installing a new ruler who supported British interests. This record for the fastest war conclusion has never been broken. Tiny plants, mighty power. Half of Earth's oxygen comes from the ocean. The oxygen we breathe is not only created by forests, but also by tiny marine organisms like plankton, algae, and seaweed. These little factories produce more than half of the planet's oxygen through photosynthesis. Thanks to sunlight, they transform carbon dioxide into oxygen, which is vital for all living beings on Earth. This amazing fact reminds us of the importance of the oceans and their role in sustaining life on our planet. Hard to believe, but there's an ice castle in Norway that disappears every spring. In the village of Alta in northern Norway, every winter a stunning ice hotel and castle are built entirely from snow and ice. This unique structure exists for just a few months. Once spring arrives, it melts and vanishes. Every year, the ice hotel is rebuilt from scratch, with new ice sculptures, an ice bar, and rooms for guests. This project has become a major attraction for tourists who come to admire the incredible architecture and immerse themselves in a world made entirely of frozen water. Can you imagine that computer memory once used magnetic rings? In the early days of computing, memory was made up of tiny magnetic rings through which electrical signals were passed. These rings stored data, and they could be erased by reversing the current. Despite their small size, this technology was groundbreaking and used until microchips were invented. The rings were literally strung on wires, and every bit of memory was worth its weight in gold. Did you know that in the US, there are banknotes with denominations up to $100,000? These bills were designed for internal transfers between large financial institutions and were never used in everyday transactions. Primarily, they were intended to facilitate operations between Federal Reserve banks. Such notes are rare, and although they are no longer issued, they remain an important part of the history of the American financial system and serve as an interesting example of unique solutions in banking practice. Is it really possible that in Norway, there is a tunnel where goats are herded every day? In Norway, there is the unique Lærdal Tunnel, which is considered the longest road tunnel in the world, stretching more than 24 kilometers. But what's surprising is that every spring this tunnel is not only used by cars, but also to herd goats. During migration, the animals cross the tunnel in search of pastures, and it has become a local tradition. Not only is it safer for the goats than mountain roads, but it also attracts tourists. Why do seahorses dance before mating? Seahorses perform entire rituals, dancing with their partners to form a special bond before raising offspring. These dances can last for hours, and during them, pairs swim in sync, change colors, and even hold each other by the tails. It's not just a dance, it's a true expression of affection that helps strengthen the bond between partners. In the underwater world, these dances surprise with their grace and tenderness. Did you know that many championships in the US are called World Championships, even though no other countries participate? For example, the World Championship of American football is strictly an American event, featuring only US teams. This approach often raises eyebrows outside the country, but within the US, it's seen as a tribute to the grandeur and uniqueness of local traditions. For Americans, the world is largely confined to their own country, and everything beyond its borders often seems less significant. Believe it or not, the dragon's blood tree cries red sap. On the island of Socotra, there grows an ancient tree that releases a bright red sap that looks like blood, giving it its name. The sap of the dragon's blood tree has been used for centuries in medicine, as well as for making dyes and even in rituals. This unusual substance acts as a natural antiseptic and is still considered a valuable resource in some cultures. Legends say that the tree guards its secrets, and the sap is the tears of an ancient dragon. Wow, in some U.S. states, atheists are not allowed to hold public office. In the U.S., there are 7 states where atheists are legally prohibited from holding public office. This is intriguing, as America is known for its fight for religious freedom. However, in some states, laws still exist that restrict the rights of individuals in public service based on their religious beliefs. This issue remains relevant for many residents seeking legislative changes that would guarantee full religious freedom for all citizens. Who would have thought that King Louis XIV ruled for 72 years? Louis XIV, also known as the Sun King, holds the record for the longest reign in the history of monarchy. He ruled France for 72 years and 110 days, from 1643 to 1715. This incredible reign surpasses all other monarchs in history. During his time, France became the cultural heart of Europe, and Louis himself became the symbol of absolute power. Long live the king who ruled longer than any other. Did you know one lightning strike could toast 100,000 slices of bread? A single lightning strike can generate enough energy to toast about 100,000 slices of bread. This figure highlights the colossal power of lightning and its ability to generate incredible amounts of energy in just fractions of a second. Next time you see lightning, imagine how powerful nature is, not only booming thunderously, but also capable of powering an entire electric grid. Nature continues to astonish with its immense potential. Did you know that about 4% of the world's population are U.S. citizens? This means that out of 8 billion people globally, approximately 330 million are American citizens. This makes the country one of the most influential on the world stage, despite its relatively small population compared to China or India. The U.S. continues to attract people from around the globe, enhancing its economic and cultural influence on a global scale. Welcome to a town with a population of 1. Imagine an entire town with only 1 resident. Monowai, a small town in Nebraska, USA, has a population of just 1 person, Elsie Eiler. She wears many hats: mayor, librarian, and bar owner. This tiny town with a population of 1 is a unique place in the U.S. Elsie runs everything on her own, collects taxes from herself, and serves the few tourists who pass by. Monowai is a living example of a one-woman show, drawing attention because of its uniqueness and Elsie's story. Believe it or not, lasers can actually cool objects. While lasers are typically associated with heat, there are special lasers that can cool objects down to ultra-low temperatures. This process, called laser cooling, is used to reach temperatures near absolute zero. These technologies play a key role in quantum physics and are used in experiments with atoms and particles, leading to groundbreaking discoveries in science. Is it really possible that in Spain there is an underground city without a single house above ground? In the town of Setenil de las Bodegas, Spain, people live directly under the rocks with their homes built into caves hidden beneath the earth. This town has existed for hundreds of years, and its streets are literally covered with giant rock slabs, creating the feeling of an underground world. The rock houses protect residents from summer heat and winter cold. Setenil de las Bodegas is so unique that tourists from all over the world come to see how life can exist in such a hidden and mysterious place. Is it possible there is a lake in Tanzania where no one swims? Lake Natron, located near the border with Kenya, is known for its extremely high salinity and alkalinity, which turns any animal that ends up in its waters into a mummy. Birds and fish caught in the lake literally turn to stone due to chemical reactions. Although it looks eerie, the lake's stunning red color draws tourists and photographers. Despite its beauty, locals and travelers never dare to venture into its dangerous waters. Have you ever considered that ethnic tension in the U.S. is still an issue? Tensions between ethnic groups remain one of the most pressing social issues in the United States. Historically, laws prohibiting marriage between people of different races were in place, and it wasn't until 1967 that this ban was lifted. Nevertheless, racial tension continues to be a significant topic in American politics, culture, and daily life. Social movements like Black Lives Matter aim to highlight this issue, which remains relevant to society as a whole. Who would have thought that gangs in Los Angeles still exist? Gangs in Los Angeles, New York, and other major U.S. cities are still divided by territory and constantly battling for power and influence. These criminal groups continue to exist and wage war even today, despite efforts by authorities to dismantle them. This situation has persisted for decades, and at times police are unable to control the situation in certain areas where crime still thrives. Is it true that time flows differently in space? Yes, and it's due to Einstein's theory of relativity. The faster you move or the closer you are to an object with a strong gravitational field, the slower time passes for you relative to the rest of the universe. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station literally age more slowly because they're moving at high speeds. This phenomenon is called gravitational time dilation. Penicillin was discovered by accident, and it saved millions of lives. In 1928, Alexander Fleming returned from vacation to his laboratory and noticed that one of his Petri dishes, infected with bacteria, was covered in mold. He was amazed to find that bacteria were not growing around the mold. This was the beginning of the discovery of penicillin, the world's first antibiotic, which completely transformed medicine and saved countless lives. A chance discovery became one of the greatest breakthroughs in human history. It turns out that hippos secrete bloody sweat to protect themselves from the sun. Hippos' skin produces a special reddish liquid that acts as sunscreen and has antiseptic properties. This bloody sweat not only protects hippos from harmful UV rays, but also helps heal wounds. In the wild, this feature makes hippos true survival experts, who have found an amazing way to shield themselves from the sun. Mosquito detectives. Case closed. Did you know that mosquitoes can help solve crimes? In Finland, police found a dead mosquito inside a stolen car. By analyzing the blood left inside the mosquito, they identified the DNA of the thief. Female mosquitoes feed on blood to nourish their eggs, while males stick to nectar. This unique case shows how even the smallest creatures can play a big role in justice. It's a perfect example of how science and nature sometimes surprise us with their unexpected contributions. Can you imagine that the total weight of all ants on Earth equals the weight of all humans? Despite their tiny size, ants are among the most numerous creatures on the planet. The total weight of all ants on Earth is equal to the weight of all humans. This astonishing fact highlights just how numerous these small workers are. Ants live in every corner of the planet, and their contribution to ecosystems is incredibly important. It's another example of how nature surprises us with its unexpected scales. Who would have thought that ants are such heavyweights in the natural world? Did you know the world's longest beard measured over 5 meters? The world's longest beard belonged to Hans Langseth, a Norwegian who passed away in 1927. His beard measured an incredible 5.33 meters, or over 17 feet. His legendary beard was so impressive that it was showcased at fairs and exhibitions. After Hans's death, his beard was donated to the Smithsonian Institution, where it remains on display. This epic beard has become a symbol of beard greatness and is admired by many. The most destructive computer virus in history. Computer viruses can cause enormous damage in a short time, but the MyDoom virus broke all records. Created in 2004, it became the fastest spreading virus in history, causing about $38 billion in damage. It raced across the world at lightning speed, leaving financial chaos in its wake. A brutal reminder of the hidden dangers lurking in our connected technologies. Did you know the first alarm clock could only ring at one time? Imagine an alarm clock that only rings at 4 in the morning. That's exactly what the first alarm clock was like, invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787. This primitive, but at the time innovative device was designed solely for Hutchins' personal use. It didn't allow the user to choose a time, but it guaranteed an early rise. After all, 4 a.m. leaves no room for just 5 more minutes. Nonetheless, this invention was the forerunner of the modern alarm clocks we now wrestle with every morning. Did you know that armadillos can transmit leprosy to humans? Armadillos are one of the few animals that can transmit the disease known as leprosy to humans. Though rare today, this infection can be passed from animal to human through contact with armadillos. Leprosy is caused by bacteria and is usually transmitted after prolonged contact with an infected animal. Scientific studies have shown that armadillos can carry the same strains of bacteria as humans, making them unique in the animal kingdom. Although this disease can be treated with antibiotics, it's worth exercising caution when interacting with these cute but potentially dangerous creatures. Who would have thought that such a peculiar little animal could be a carrier of an ancient disease? Why does the King of Hearts in a deck of cards have no mustache? If you've ever taken a close look at a standard deck of cards, you may have noticed that the King of Hearts is the only king without a mustache. This small detail, often overlooked, makes him unique among the other kings. Depicted as clean-shaven, this little quirk adds a bit of mystery to the standard deck of cards that we all know and play with. Isn't it interesting that hedgehogs can swim? These little spiky creatures don't seem built for water, but they are surprisingly good swimmers. Hedgehogs can not only swim, but also hold their breath underwater. They puff up like little rafts and can cross rivers and lakes if necessary. Although they don't often need to, the ability to swim helps them survive in the wild, proving that even the smallest creatures can be great adventurers. Who would have thought that you can see sounds through light? Sounds can not only be heard but also seen. Using special equipment like oscilloscopes, scientists can visualize sound waves, turning them into light pulses. These pulses take on different shapes depending on the frequency and intensity of the sound. The sight is incredible. High frequencies appear as fast, thin lines, while low ones as slow, broad patterns. Technology allows us to see music and sounds, adding a new dimension to how we perceive them. Imagine a flight that lasts only 53 seconds. The shortest commercial flight in the world connects 2 Scottish islands, Westray and Papa Westray. This flight covers just 1.5 miles and lasts less than a minute, only 53 seconds. By the time you buckle your seatbelt, the plane is already preparing to land. It's probably the quickest and shortest way to travel that you can imagine. If you ever find yourself on this flight, you won't even notice its start and finish. Did you know the world's oldest message in a bottle was found after more than a century? In 2018, a bottle washed ashore on a beach in Western Australia containing a message tossed into the Indian Ocean by a German ship in 1886. This message had traveled through the seas for an incredible 132 years before being discovered. Talk about slow and steady mail service. It's a fascinating glimpse into the past, connecting us with a different era. Who would have thought that dolphins sleep with one eye open? Yes, it's true. Dolphins have a unique ability to shut down half of their brain while the other half remains active. This allows them to rest while staying alert for predators and maintaining control over their breathing. Imagine being able to sleep while still ready to wake up at any moment. This evolutionary trick helps dolphins survive in the ocean. Did you know that accents in Britain can change every few kilometers? British English is quite different from American English, and its pronunciation has become increasingly diverse in recent years. Accents in various parts of the UK can vary so widely that you can hear a completely different pronunciation just a few kilometers apart. The royal family is trained to speak Queen's English, which is a distinct and unique standard in the language. How would you react if you found out there is an underwater museum in Greece? In the Aegean Sea near the coast of Greece, there is a unique underwater museum. This archaeological site allows visitors to dive with scuba gear and explore ancient shipwrecks and artifacts lying on the seabed. It is the first underwater museum of its scale and attracts both history enthusiasts and divers from around the world. Imagine for a moment that Stonehenge is older than the Egyptian pyramids. Stonehenge is a mysterious monument that remains one of the world's greatest enigmas. It was built around 3000 BC, making it older than the oldest pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Khufu in Egypt, which was constructed around 2500 BC. It is unknown how ancient people managed to erect such a grand structure, and importantly, why they did so. This makes Stonehenge an important archaeological and cultural landmark. Believe it or not, licking your elbow is almost impossible. Have you ever tried to lick your elbow? Despite all attempts, most people simply can't do it. The reason lies in anatomy. The length of the arm and the position of the elbow make it impossible for the tongue to reach that point. Of course, there are rare exceptions. People with extraordinary flexibility might surprise their friends by succeeding. But for most of us, it's physically impossible, no matter how hard you try. This fun fact is the perfect opportunity to test your abilities and see if you're anatomically unique. But be careful not to hurt yourself in the process. The Shawshank Redemption, a movie that didn't become a legend right away. Who would have thought that one of the greatest films of all time, The Shawshank Redemption, initially flopped at the box office? When this masterpiece by Stephen King and director Frank Darabont was released in 1994, it didn't make much money in theaters. But thanks to word of mouth, the film gained popularity over time. People began recommending it to friends, and it gradually became a cult classic. Today, it tops many lists of the best films of all time, proving that the power of great storytelling and genuine audience love can make a film immortal. Is it really true that goldfish only remember for 3 seconds? Forget that old myth. Goldfish actually have much better memories than we give them credit for. Research has shown that goldfish can remember things like feeding times, recognize their owners, and even navigate through mazes. Their memory is far more sophisticated than the commonly believed 3 seconds, and they can retain information for months. So next time you see your goldfish swimming, know they are much smarter than they seem. The surprising trend in Japan, pets preferred over children. Imagine this. In Japan, there are now more pets than children. This surprising fact highlights modern social trends. More and more Japanese people are choosing to have pets instead of children. Statistics show that the number of pets in Japan exceeds the number of children under the age of 15. This is due to many factors, such as the high costs of raising children, career ambitions, and limited housing space. Pets require less time and resources, but still bring joy and a sense of care. This trend reflects global changes in the perception of family life and values in different countries around the world. Did you know that butterflies taste food with their feet? Butterflies don't use their mouths to taste their food. Instead, they have taste receptors on their feet that allow them to determine if a plant is suitable for laying eggs or feeding. When a butterfly lands on a flower or leaf, it tastes it with its feet, and if it finds the taste favorable, it will start sipping nectar. Imagine if we could taste our meals just by stepping on them. This unique sense helps butterflies find the best places to eat and lay their eggs, ensuring the survival of their species. Believe it or not, the world's smallest island is only a few square meters. Bishop Rock, located in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of England, holds the title of the world's smallest island. Its area is only 8 thousandths of a square kilometer, just 3 thousandths of a square mile. Despite its tiny size, the island boasts a lighthouse and is the most westerly point of England. It's officially recognized in the Guinness World Records as the smallest inhabited island, proving that even the smallest piece of land can be home to something remarkable. It's hard to believe, but the war between Britain and Zanzibar lasted just 38 minutes. In August 1896, Britain and its colony Zanzibar engaged in the shortest armed conflict in history, lasting only 38 minutes. Although this war was brief, it remains a significant episode in British history, vividly demonstrating the power of the empire at that time. Who would have thought that clouds can weigh millions of tons? Despite their light and airy appearance, clouds actually have massive weight. 1 cubic meter of cloud contains about half a gram of water. Considering that a typical cumulus cloud can have a volume of over 1 billion cubic meters, its mass can reach 500,000 tons. That's about the same as 400,000 cars. Imagine tons of water floating above you. The first computer mouse was made of wood. In 1964, Douglas Engelbart invented the first computer mouse, and it was made of wood. This device, with 2 metal wheels, revolutionized how humans interact with computers. Today, modern mice are much more advanced, but that wooden mouse remains a landmark in computer history. Sleeping with one eye open, how dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. What remarkable feature does Queen Elizabeth II have in her long career? Queen Elizabeth II is the longest reigning monarch in world history, having served on the British throne for 70 years. During her reign, the country has undergone numerous historical changes, and the Queen herself has become a symbol of stability for the nation. Over the years of her reign, the United Kingdom has experienced many political, social, and economic shifts, but her dedication to duty and unique ability to remain at the center of the country's political life have been key aspects of her leadership. Why are towers in the desert built so tall? In the UAE and other desert regions, modern skyscrapers are not just built high for beauty, but to minimize the impact of heat. At great heights, temperatures are cooler, which helps save on cooling costs. Additionally, tall buildings provide maximum shade to surrounding areas. This unique design solution allows desert cities to counteract extreme climates, creating an oasis of coolness right in the middle of the desert. Did you know that residents of the United Kingdom who turn 100 years old receive a congratulatory message from the monarch? Every British citizen reaching this milestone gets a personal greeting from the reigning monarch. It is a symbol of respect and gratitude for the long life they have lived. This tradition highlights the importance of honoring the elderly in the UK, where historical continuity and respect for heritage are core values. Each congratulatory moment becomes part of the personal story of thousands, strengthening the bond between the monarchy and its people. Thumbs have their own pulse. Have you ever wondered why people check their pulse using their index and middle fingers instead of their thumbs? It's because your thumb has its own pulse. Each thumb is supplied with blood by the radial artery, which runs along the wrist on the thumb side. This artery is so strong that you can feel its pulse when you touch it. That's why it's recommended to avoid using your thumb when taking a pulse, to prevent mixing up its pulse with your actual heartbeat. Now you know that even your thumb has its own little heartbeat. Tardigrades, survival masters of extreme conditions. These microscopic creatures, also known as water bears, can survive in places where other organisms would perish. Tardigrades can endure freezing temperatures as low as minus 270 degrees Celsius, boiling heat, radiation, and even the vacuum of space. In extreme conditions, they enter a state called cryptobiosis, where their metabolism nearly stops, turning them into something like a time capsule. In this state, they can survive without water or food for decades. These fascinating creatures inspire scientists to explore new frontiers, and one day, they might even help humans conquer other planets. What do you think makes Monument Valley one of America's most majestic natural wonders? Located in Utah, Monument Valley truly impresses with its natural grandeur. This plateau, featuring sandstone formations that can reach heights of up to 1,000 feet, has become a symbol of the Wild West and has been extensively featured in films, creating an iconic image of the American wilderness. These natural monuments, shaped by wind and time, represent more than just a landscape. They are a picturesque chronicle of nature, narrating the millennia-long processes of Earth's formation. Why does Turkey build palaces for stray cats? In the streets of Istanbul, you can find miniature houses that look like palaces, built especially for stray cats. The locals consider cats sacred animals and care for them with great love. Some of these houses even feature carvings and balconies, with food and water bowls nearby. These cat palaces have become symbols of Turkey's respect for animals, and tourists often admire these little masterpieces around the city. Why does Italy have a bell tower that sings? In the quiet town of Cefalù, Sicily, stands an unusual bell tower that produces melodic sounds when the wind whistles through it. This effect is created by narrow slits in the tower's structure that transform the airflow into music resembling organ sounds. Locals call it the voice of the tower, believing it preserves the memory of ancient times. Tourists from around the world come to hear this unique melody on cloudy, windy days, filling the streets with a mystical sound. The story of ink saving. How a period saved a newspaper thousands of dollars. How important do you think a tiny change in logo design could be? In 1967, the New York Times decided to remove the period at the end of its name. This decision wasn't driven by aesthetics, but by savings. The newspaper calculated that dropping the period could save them a significant amount of ink, around $600 a year, which today equals approximately $6,000. While such an amount may seem insignificant at first for publishers, it became an example of how even the smallest changes can lead to substantial resource savings. Imagine how one small decision could impact the budget of an entire company. Superfetation. Is it possible to get pregnant while already pregnant? Could this really be true? It turns out, yes. Superfetation is a rare medical phenomenon in which a woman can get pregnant while already being pregnant. This occurs when ovulation continues even after conception, which typically doesn't happen as the body halts the ovulation cycle after pregnancy begins. As a result of this rare condition, a woman can carry two embryos of different ages simultaneously. Though extremely rare in humans, this phenomenon occurs more frequently in the animal kingdom, especially in certain species of fish and mammals. It's amazing but true. The human body is full of surprises, and sometimes nature can break its own rules. It's hard to believe, but giraffes and humans have the same number of neck vertebrae. Despite the fact that a giraffe's neck is much longer, both giraffes and humans have the same number of neck vertebrae, 7. These bones provide support for the head and allow neck mobility. In giraffes, they are simply much longer than in humans. This fascinating fact highlights the amazing diversity of evolution and nature, despite the external differences between species.